Did you know that Rockstar cancelled a game which was really similar to Hitman? And do you know what happened to the Half-Life 2 episode 3? Why it never came out? And how about Doom 4? What happened to that game? And of course, how can we forget the PT, the horror game whose demo we saw in 2015? Well, to find out all these answers, you need to watch this video till the end to find out what happened to these games, why we never saw them, and yeah, now
Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
So the first game on this list is of course Project Ragtag, a Star Wars game. Project Ragtag. Yes, this was the codename for a Star Wars game that was under development at EA's Visceral Games, the same studio behind the Dead Space series. This game was supposed to be a linear action adventure game with a cinematic style, similar to Uncharted or Tomb Raider. The game was led by Amy Hennig, the creative director of Uncharted series. This game would have followed a group of scoundrels and rogues in the Star Wars universe. According to some data I have collected, Project Ragtag started development around 2013 and it was cancelled in 2017 due to many factors. 4 years gone to waste. So one of the major reasons was the lack of proper staff at the Visceral to create a game of this caliber. EA had laid off a large portion of Visceral staff in 2016 and other teams too, such as EA Motive and EA Vancouver. They all were assisting with the development of Star Wars Battlefront and its sequel instead of this game. Another factor was the shift in market trends and consumer preferences, which favored open world games over linear ones. EA wanted Project Ragtag to be more online focused and replayable, which of course clashed with Amy's vision for the game. Following the cancellation of the game in 2017, EA shut down Visceral Games entirely and Amy left EA shortly after. Project Ragtag remains one of the most disappointing cancellations in gaming history, and it could have been a great addition to the Star Wars franchise and a showcase of Hennig's storytelling skills, but I think it's over. The second game on this list is one that was actually finished, or at least close to it. NBA Elite 11 was a basketball game that was supposed to be launched for PS3 and also Xbox 360 in 2010. It was developed by EA Canada. Okay, now why is EA always cancelling its games? Never mind. This game was meant to be a reboot of the NBA Live series, which had been losing its ground to its rival NBA 2K. NBA Elite 11 featured a new control scheme that used both analog sticks for dribbling and shooting, as well as a new physics engine that aimed for more realistic gameplay. However, things went downhill when EA released a demo for NBA Elite 11 to get some feedback from players and make some last-minute adjustments. And trust me, the demo was riddled with glitches and a lot of bugs that made the game unplayable at times. Players could make impossible shots and they also get stuck in weird positions. And they could even make their character float in midair like Jesus. The feedback was very negative and EA decided to delay this game forever. But it was too late. Some copies of NBA Elite 11 had already been shipped to retailers and media outlets ahead of its launch date. EA asked them to send back the copies, but some of them leaked online or were sold on eBay for high prices. NBA Elite 11 became one of the rarest and most expensive games ever, as well as one of the biggest failures in sports gaming history. The third game on this list is one that is still technically not cancelled, but it might as well be. Agent is a stealth game that was under development at Rockstar North. Of course, we all know Rockstar, right? I think GTA 6 is cancelled too. Joking. So Agent was first announced at E3 2007 as a PS3 exclusive, and it was supposed to be set during the Cold War in the late 1970s. Agent would have featured multiple locations around the world, such as London, New York, and Moscow, and it would have involved political assassinations. Well, it sounds interesting. And also Agent was one of the Rockstar's passion projects, and it had been in development since before GTA 4. However, very little information or footage was ever released about Agent, except for some concept art and screenshots that leaked online over the years. The last official update on Agent came before Rockstar's parent company, Take-Two Interactive, in 2013 when they renewed the trademark for the name Agent. However, in 2018 the trademark was listed as abandoned, which suggested that Rockstar had given up on the game. The reasons for Agent's disappearance are unclear, but some speculate that it had to do with the development of GTA 5, which took priority over Agent and consumed most of Rockstar's resources. Others suggest that Agent was too ambitious for the PS3 hardware, and it would have required a lot of optimization and compromise to run smoothly. Well, whatever the case is, Agent remains to be one of the most mysterious and elusive games ever, and it is very unlikely that that we'll ever see it in the future. Next is another Star Wars game that was cancelled and left many fans heartbroken was Star Wars 1313, or you can say 1313, I don't know. This game was under development at LucasArts, the studio behind many classic Star Wars games such as Knights of the Old Republic and Jedi Knight, one of my favorites. Star Wars 1313 was first revealed at E3 2012 and it looked stunning. It was supposed to be a gritty and mature action game that followed a young Boba Fett as he explored the underworld of the Coruscant, a planet-wide city that had 1313 levels of depths. Star Wars 1313 would have featured a cinematic style with motion capture technology, as well as seamless transitions between gameplay and cutscenes. The game would have also involved collaboration with other branches of Lucasfilms, such as Industrial Light and Magic and Skywalker Sound, to create a high-quality Star Wars experience. However, in 2013, Disney acquired Lucasfilms and the Star Wars IP, and as a result, LucasArts was shut down and most of its staff was laid off. All of its current projects were either cancelled or put on to hold infinitely, or you can say forever, including Star Wars 1313. The game was never officially cancelled though, but it's very unlikely that it'll ever be resumed or released. Star Wars 1313 remains one of the most promising and ambitious Star Wars games that never came to be. So if you're a fan of horror games, then you probably remember the shock and excitement that came with the release of PT, or Playable Teaser, in 2014. This was a demo for PS4 that was actually a teaser for Silent Hills, a reboot of the Silent Hill series that was being worked on by Hideo Kojima, the creator of Metal Gear Solid and Death Stranding. The demo featured a first-person perspective and a series of difficult puzzles that required players to cooperate online to solve them. The demo also had a terrifying atmosphere and some disturbing imagery that made many players scream or cry. But at the end of the demo, it was revealed that Silent Hill would have starred Norman Reedus, the actor from The Walking Dead, and he was going to be the protagonist. The demo received critical acclaim and generated a lot of hype for Silent Hills, which seemed to be a dream project for horror fans. However, in 2015, Silent Hills was sadly cancelled due to the dispute between Kojima and Konami, the publisher of the Silent Hill series. The details of the dispute are still unclear, but it had to do something with Konami's pressure on Kojima to finish Metal Gear Solid 5 before it was ready. Konami also removed Kojima's name from the marketing materials for Metal Gear Solid 5 and eventually parted ways with him. Following Silent Hill's cancellation, Konami pulled PT from PlayStation Store and made it impossible to download or play it again unless it was already on PS4's hard drive. PT became one of the most rarest and most sought after games ever, as well as one of the biggest tragedies in the gaming history. The next game on this list is one that many Xbox fans were eagerly anticipating, which is of course Scalebound. This game was being developed by Platinum Games, the Japanese studio behind action games such as Bayonetta and Nier Automata. Of course, one of my favorites. Scalebound was first announced at E3 2014 as an Xbox One exclusive, and it was supposed to be an action RPG that focused on dragon companions in a large open world. And that's not it. It was supposed to have a 4-player co-op mode where players could team up with their dragons to fight enemies and bosses. Sounds interesting, right? Scalebound looked like an epic and unique game that would have been a great addition to the Xbox One's library. However, in 2017, Microsoft cancelled Scalebound for undisclosed reasons. Some sources suggest that Scalebound failed to meet Microsoft's expectations and standards, and that it had technical issues and development delays. Others suggest that Scalebound was too ambitious for Platinum Games' capabilities, and that there was a clash of vision between the developer and the publisher. Whatever the case might be, Scalebound's cancellation was a huge blow to both Platinum Games and Xbox fans, who had been looking forward to playing this game for years. Scalebound remains one of the most disappointing cancellations in gaming history, as it could have been a masterpiece of action RPGs. The next game on this list is one that could have been a huge hit for Marvel fans, which is of course THQ The Avengers. This game was under development at THQ Studio Australia, and it was based on the Secret Invasion storyline from the comics, where the shape-shifting aliens known as the Skrulls infiltrate Earth and replace some of the superheroes. The game was supposed to be a first-person action game with co-op and online multiplayer modes, where players could choose from different Avengers such as Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, and Hulk. THQ's Avengers was first announced in 2010, and it was planned to be released in 2012 to coincide with the release of the first Avenger movie. However, in 2011, THQ faced financial troubles and decided to cancel the game and closed down THQ Studio Australia. The game was never officially revealed to the public, but some footage and concept art are leaked online over the years, showing what the game could have been looked like. And by looking at it, it looked like a fun and faithful adaptation from the Marvel comics, with a comic-style graphics and a variety of gameplay mechanics for each character. It's a shame that the game never got to see the light of the day, and it could have been a great alternative to the more recent Marvel Avengers by Square Enix. The 8th game on this list is the one that was eventually rebooted and released as Doom in 2016. But before that, there was a version of Doom 4 that was very different from what we got. The version of Doom 4 was under development at ID Software, the studio behind the original Doom series, and it was supposed to be more cinematic and story-driven game that followed a group of resistance fighter in a post-apocalyptic Earth that have been invaded by demons. Of course, a Doom story. Doom 4 started development around 2008, and it was influenced by games such as Call of Duty and Half-Life 2. It featured scripted sequence, dialogues, cutscenes, and linear levels. It also had more realistic and gritty art style, with less emphasis on gore and violence. However, this version of Doom 4 faced many problems during its development, such as technical issues, creative conflicts, and lack of direction. The game was also criticized by some ID Software employees and Bethesda's executives for being too generic and not faithful to the Doom legacy. In 2013, Doom 4 was cancelled and rebooted as Doom, which went back to the roots of the series with fast-paced action, brutal combat, and minimal story. Doom was a critical and commercial success, and it spawned a sequel in 2020 called Doom Eternal. However, some fans still wonder what Doom 4 could have been like, and whether it could have been a good game in its own right or not. Well, I think it would have been a good game. The next game on this list is one that many RPG fans still hope for. Yes, I'm talking about Chrono Break. The game was supposed to be the third installment in the Chrono series, which started with Chrono Trigger in 1995 and continued with Chrono Cross in 1999. Both games are considered classics of the genre, with their time-traveling stories, memorable characters, and innovative gameplay systems. Chrono Break was never officially announced or confirmed by Square Enix, but there were some hints that it was in development at some point. According to some details, Chrono Break was first registered as a trademark by Square Enix in Japan in 2001 and then in North America in 2003. This sparked speculation that Square Enix was working on a new Chrono game for PS2 or PS3. However, nothing never came out of it, and the trademark was expired in 2009. Some sources suggest that Chrono Break was cancelled due to internal conflicts at Square Enix, or due to the departure of some key staff members who worked on the previous Chrono games. Well, whatever the case, Chrono Break remains one of the most elusive and desired game ever. And the last game on this list is one that needs no introduction: Half-Life 2 Episode 3. This game was under development at Valve, and it was supposed to be the third and final episodes of the Half-Life 2, which was released in 2004 for PC and consoles. Half-Life 2 is widely considered one of the best games ever made, with its immersive story, physics-based gameplay, and memorable characters. Half-Life 2 was followed by two episodic expansions, Episode 1 in 2006 and Episode 2 in 2007. Episode 2 ended on a major cliffhanger and left fans eager for more. However, Half-Life 2 Episode 3 was first announced in 2006 as the part of the trilogy of episodes that would conclude Half-Life 2's story by Christmas 2007. However, Valve never released Episode 3 or any official information about it. Instead, Valve focused on other projects such as Portal, Team Fortress 2, Left 4 Dead, Dota 2, and Steam. Valve also became notorious for its silence and secrecy regarding Half-Life 2 Episode 3, which led to many rumors, speculation, and jokes amongst fans and medias. And there were many memes in the meme community too, like Half-Life 3 confirmed and like that. So whatever the case was, Half-Life 2 Episode 3 cancellation was a huge disappointment for many fans who had been waiting for a decade for a resolution to Half-Life 2 story, and this episode still remains one of the most wanted and missing games ever, and it's unlikely that Valve will ever make it. And yeah guys, those are some of the games that were never released. There are still many more games that were scrapped or shelved from various reasons, and some of them might still have a chance to be revived someday. But for now, we can only wonder what could have been and appreciate the games that did make it on the screens. And yeah, now, thank you for watching this video.